So, hey, my name is Bryan Smith. I am one of the pastors here at Doxology Bible Church. So excited that you're here with us this morning. If you have a Bible with you, you can go ahead and meet me in Matthew chapter 13, like they mentioned on the video. This morning, we're kicking off a new series. So we're going to spend the next 5 weeks studying through Matthew chapter 13 that we have called Kingdom Come. But it's different than just a new sermon series. Okay, this is the first Sunday we're kicking off really a new kind of 2-year journey that we're going on together as a church. Okay, and so we saw a lot of the details about it there in that video there, but really the heart behind it. Okay, the heart behind this Kingdom Come journey that we're going to go on over the next 2 years. Really, it's drawn out of just the teachings that Jesus has about his kingdom and really kind of what he is doing in our lives and what he is doing in this world to build his kingdom on this earth. Okay, we're going to talk about that from Matthew chapter 13 over the next couple of weeks. But before we get there, though, a couple just things I wanted to draw your attention to. If you guys could go ahead and start kind of passing out these journals. We have something to give you this morning. So to kind of help us as kind of be a travel guide along our journey over the next 5 weeks, we have these little series guides here that we're going to give you. And so you can, there'll be something to kind of, you can walk through over the next 5 weeks. And so inside of each of these, you're going to find a few of these things. Number one, when you open it up, you're going to see a letter from my boss. Okay, a letter from my boss, Chris Freeland. He's a senior pastor at Doxology Bible Church. But you're going to find a couple other things. There's going to be some stories in there about some things that God has done in the lives of some people in our church. There's going to be a kind of an outline of a lot of that vision that we talked about in those videos, some of the different points in that as well. And there's also some tools that we're going to kind of be able to walk with over the next 5 weeks. So in here, you'll also find there's a place to take notes. I don't know if we've got some note takers in here, but there's a place where you can take notes each week as we kind of study through Matthew chapter 13 together and look at these different just take notes as we study through Matthew 13 through the sermons each week. There's also in here, I think this is pretty cool, there is a devotional, okay? And so each week as we kind of study along, if you kind of take some time during the week to read the Bible on your own or just kind of spend some time with God, we've got if you're not, this is a great time to start, okay? We've got a devotional here that you can do that's just kind of a daily devotional. It's got some passages of scripture, some questions, okay, and some little stories there that you can kind of use to study on your own as we're kind of going throughout this series over the next 5 weeks. In here, you'll also find some discussion questions for you to go over in your community group, okay? And so just as we kind of come together each week and discuss these questions together. And so each week we have groups that meet in people's homes just for kind of fellowship and just discussing the word together, which I'll just kind of say this right now. If you're not in a community group, hey, this is a great time to kind of jump into one, even if it's just for the first 5 weeks. I tell people all the time when it comes to groups, I know it's a little awkward. It's a little like, okay, like, is this my place or not? Hey, you don't got to marry the group, okay, when you show up. And so, hey, just kind of go on a date, okay? This might be kind of a great time over the next 5 weeks for you to kind of date a community group. And so I really want to encourage you just to jump into one, even if it's just for the next 5 weeks. I think it's really going to help as we kind of study through this passage together and talk about where we're going to be going as a church over the next 2 years. And so if you have any questions about jumping into a group or would want one, we have all of our groups. They're listed on our website. You can go back to the next steps table after this service is over, and we'll have, hey, here's all the groups that we have. Here's when they meet. We will get you connected to somebody where there's a group that you can kind of jump into and kind of walk through this with some people in our church. I really, really want to encourage you to do that if you're not in a group already. And also you'll see in here kind of really over the next 2 years, okay, what is it that we're chasing after? What is it that we're going after? Really, there's kind of two big goals as we're kind of thinking about this that we have as a church. And the first goal that we have is what we're just saying, hey, is 100% engagement. Okay, 100% engagement in some way. So our prayer, really, my prayer as a pastor, that everyone who calls Doxology Bible Church their home, that they would engage fully in 4 different invitations that we're going to see Jesus make over as we study through Matthew chapter 13. And so we would just think through that and pray through that. And if this is our church home, we would say yes to those 4 different invitations that he's going to make to us. And we're going to walk through those over the next 4 weeks. So that's primary goal number 1 is 100% engagement. The second goal that we're praying for is and the kind of what we're trusting God to do is for God to provide the funds, $18.5 million over the next 2 years to fund a lot of those initiatives that we saw in those videos and that we saw kind of listed in this notebook as well. And so when you hear that number, okay, $18.5 million over a 2-year period, my thought is you look around, okay, here we are, this little bitty church meeting in an elementary cafeteria. Like, man, $9 million a year, that feels a little steep, okay? And you would be right, okay? That would definitely be correct. But one of the benefits of kind of the way that Doxology is set up is we are a family of congregations, okay? We have a congregation here in Alliance. We have a congregation in Southwest Fort Worth. We have a Spanish-speaking congregation in Southwest Fort Worth as well. And so one of the benefits of being a family of congregations is that lets us chase after some things together, okay, that we otherwise really wouldn't be able to chase after alone. And that's definitely true here. And so that number, $18.5 million over a 2-year period, that actually is about $3 million a year more than Doxology Church as a whole came in through giving last year, okay? And so that extra money, that extra $3 million a year, that's going to go to fund a lot of these initiatives, primarily this facility that we're going to try to build, we're looking to build for our congregation here in North Fort Worth. We've got some designs back there where you can see and look at that just to kind of get a picture of it. And so there's definitely a huge part for us to play, okay, as a congregation, but it is not something that we're kind of chasing after alone, okay? And so if you have any questions about any of that, or I would love to talk to you, okay? I would love to answer any questions that you have. I'll be around. But also, if we can go back to that previous slide, if you have any other questions, you can go to this website, kingdomcomefw.com. If you'll go to that website, it's got probably so much, there's a good chance that your question is going to be able to be answered on that website. We just could put tons of information there kind of for you to have as a resource, and so you can go there and check that out as well. And so, but I'd love to answer any questions if you guys have any. So that's where we're going over the next 2 years, okay? That's my commercial, okay? That's what it was at the beginning, so that was a lot, okay? So Matthew chapter 13. If you guys have your Bibles, you can turn there. And so I was gone last week, okay? If some of you may notice that. Last week was actually Ashley and I's. It was our 20-year anniversary, okay? So we were gone. So that's great. She should get the applause. She's not in here and so right now. But she definitely deserves a medal, okay, for sticking with me for over the past 20 years. I am not the easiest person in the world to live with. And so, but she's great. I mean, she is more than I deserve, okay? She is definitely more than I deserve. I used to work with college students, and they would always kind of ask, questions about like, hey, what advice would you give me for being married? And I would just say, hey, just try to marry up, okay? If you can, like marry up. And so I definitely married up. And so she is that for me. And so, but we were gone this past week we went on a couple days on a kind of anniversary trip. And kind of funny enough, as that video showed, we went to some wineries, okay? We went down into kind of Fredericksburg and went to some wineries there in the hill country of Texas. And it was great. It was pretty. We had a really good time. And it was also just a little bit out of my comfort zone, okay? So I'm from small town Oklahoma, okay? So there weren't a whole lot of like wineries around. I didn't go to a lot of wineries whenever I was growing up. And, it's not that long ago that I just kind of realized that wine doesn't just come from a box, okay? And so that's kind of where I'm at. So this was outside of my comfort zone, but we go down there. And it was really pretty, and we did a wine tasting when we were down there. And so I know some of you may have done that before. I had never done anything like that before. So we go, we sit down at this place, and it's really pretty. We got dressed up, and we're sitting there, and they bring out, this charcuterie board with all these different meats and cheeses and vegetables, and it was great. And this lady, she comes up with this, these bottles of wine that she's gonna pour, and we're gonna taste them and try them. And I have no idea that. I didn't know there were like different kinds. There's all these different things. And she's like, hey, here's this, bottle of blah, blah, blah from, blah, blah, blah. And just starts kind of saying all of these things. And I'm like, I can't even pronounce what you're saying, okay? And I'm like nodding my head, trying to not look like an idiot, okay, this whole time. And so she's sitting there, and then she pours us, a little bit of wine in our glasses just so we can, and walks away so we can savor it, okay? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, do I just down it? Like, what do I do? And so I start like watching all the people around me, and they've got their glasses, And they're spinning them around, like this. They're closing their eyes, and they just kind of sip it. And some of them, their eyes just popped open. It's like, man, it's like they're having this deeply religious experience, okay, with this bottle of wine. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, well, it looks like it's great, so I'm going to give it a shot. So I sit there, I get my glass of wine, I take it, I put it in my mouth, and I'll kind of swish it around in my mouth, and I swallow it, and I'm just waiting for something to happen. I'm like, dude, that was just grape juice with attitude, Like, there wasn't a whole lot more. And I'm just like, I put it down, I'm looking around, all these people having this experience. I'm like, man, what's going on here? Like, what do you know? Like, what am I missing out on? What is the secret? Okay, what is the secret that you know that I don't? Because life, it's not quite as fun, is it? Okay, it's not quite as exciting. You kind of feel like an idiot when it feels like everybody else knows the secret and you don't. Have you ever been there before? You ever found yourselves in seasons and moments of your life like there where it just feels like everybody's kind of in on a secret that you don't know, especially when it comes to our Christian life? Like, do you ever feel like you're kind of on the outside looking in? Like everybody knows a secret that you don't know, and you don't get why, you don't understand why. I mean, we all come to the same church services. We all sing the same songs. We all listen to the same sermons. We all read the same Bibles. We all pray the same prayers. We're all serving in the same ways. Okay, we're all in the same small groups, but you look around and sometimes it feels like people are tasting something that you just can't taste. There's a secret. And you're just not really sure what it is and what you're missing. It's not that you don't want to. I mean, you would love to have that. You would love to have a connection with God that just kind of carries you through life and gives you vision and purpose and direction. You would love to feel his power with you as you're trying to follow him and live your days and live for what it is that you know that you want your life to be. You would love to know that he's with you, walking with you hand by hand, step by step, as you're just trying to navigate all of the landmines of life. You would love to know it, that, and you hear about it from other people. You see it from other people. It just hasn't been your experience. You ever feel that? Look around and say, what does everybody else know here that I don't know? What is the secret? What's the secret? Well, Jesus, he's gonna help us answer that question. And really, here's kind of the question we're gonna look at this morning. Why do some people seem to experience God deeply while others seem to miss him completely? Why do some people experience God deeply while others seem to miss him completely? What is the secret? What's the secret? Well, Jesus, he's going to show us that this morning. Matthew chapter 13, if you have it, beginning in verse 10. And Jesus, he's going to show us the answer to this question, actually, by answering another question, okay? His disciples have come up to him. He's just kind of told a story. He's done some teaching. They didn't understand, okay? They come up and they ask him a question. Verse 10, the disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak to the people in parables? Okay, it's like, hey, why do you speak to the people in parables? A little bit of context of what's happening here. At this point in Matthew chapter 13, okay, some things are happening. Jesus, he's kind of blowing up. Okay, he is growing in popularity. There are thousands of people that are just gathering around him. Jesus, he's growing in popularity, yet at the same time, the opposition against him is growing as well. Okay, there are more people that are gathering around him because they want to know what he has to say. There's this guy performing miracles, healing people, and they're like, hey, what is he all about? He's growing in popularity, but there's more and more people that don't like that. Okay, they don't like that he's growing in popularity, and so because of that's happening, this growing popularity and this growing opposition at the same time, Jesus, he starts to change things up. He starts to teach in parables. Okay, here in Matthew chapter 13, before this, he's kind of told it to him like it is, but here in Matthew chapter 13, he starts to teach in parables. He starts to tell them stories. Okay, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that. There's not anything wrong with stories. There's not anything wrong with using illustrations. The problem is Jesus would just tell us stories, and then he wouldn't tell anybody what they meant. Okay, he would just, this one right here, Jesus, he is like in a boat a little bit offshore. There's thousands of people around him. He's sitting there with his disciples, and all of a sudden he just stands up. He says, hey, guys, guess what? Like there was this farmer that had some seed, and he was just kind of walking around, throwing it out, and Some of that seed fell on the path, and some fell among some rocks, and some fell on some thorns. Some of that seed actually started to take root and grow, and then just sits down. Everybody's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like what does that mean? Why are you doing this? Why are you just telling the stories? And so the disciples, they come up to him. They're like, hey, you're confusing people. You're confusing people. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you telling these stories? Why don't you just tell them what it is that you want them to know? Why do you speak in parables? So Jesus, he tells them, here's why I speak in parables. He replied, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. Okay, there's that word, the secrets. He says, this is why I speak in parables, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Okay? And so that's why I'm talking in parables. The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, they've been given to you, but they haven't been given to them. And so Jesus says, I'm speaking in parables because I got a secret. Okay, I got a secret, and it's about God's kingdom, okay? And it's about what life is going to be when I'm king, when I am ruling. And it's a secret about the kingdom. It's the secret about what God is doing in our lives. It's a secret about what God is doing in this world. But that secret, it's not for everyone. He looks at the disciples and he says, hey, the secret is for you. Then he looks out at the crowd. He says, but the secret is not for them. And so that's why Jesus tells parables. If you ever wondered, parables, they do two things. They reveal the secrets of the kingdom to some. Okay, they reveal what God is doing in this world to some, and they conceal, okay, what God is doing in this world to others. They reveal and they conceal at the same time, which is the million-dollar question. Why? Why are you doing this? Why did you start speaking in parables? But kind of the one that I was thinking about this week is like, hey, how do I get in the group that understands? How do I make sure that I'm not missing out on the secret? Who are the people that understand the secret, and who are the people that kind of miss out? Okay, who does he reveal it to, and who is it hidden from? And so Jesus, he tells us who gets in on the secret. Who gets in on the secrets of the kingdom of what God is doing in this world? Verse 12, he says, well, here's who it is, whoever has. And that's kind of the phrase. Okay, whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. And so that's who gets the secrets of the kingdom. He says, hey, whoever has it. Whoever has it. In other words, it's those who were willing to receive it. Okay, they've already have it. The ones who have it, to them, they're going to be given more. Who gets the secrets of the kingdom? Jesus says those who have receptive hearts. Okay, those who are receptive to what he's saying. Whoever has it, he goes, I'm going to give more to them. It's not about that the secrets of the kingdom, they aren't necessarily given to the smartest people in the room. Okay, they're not necessarily given to the best behaved people in the room, but the secrets of the kingdom, what God is doing in our lives, what God is doing in the world, it's given to people whose heart posture is receptive to Jesus. They're like, hey, I want what you're going to give me. And we see that in the disciples. Jesus tells a story that they don't understand. They're a little bit confused. What did they do? Rather than walk away like a lot of them did, they came and they started asking questions. They started leaning in. They said, hey, I want to know this. I want to understand. So the secrets of the kingdom, number one, they're given to receptive hearts. Okay, people who have receptive hearts. And that describes the disciples that day, but it didn't describe everyone in the crowd. Okay, it didn't describe everyone. Verse 12, he continues, whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. So he says, hey, if you don't have it, it's whoever don't have. And so rather than having receptive hearts, it's people who had resistant hearts to what Jesus was saying, to what he was teaching. And then he goes on and describes what they're like. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You'll be ever hearing, but never understanding. You'll be ever seeing, but never perceiving. Who misses out on the secrets? It's those whose hearts are resistant to what it is that Jesus is sharing, the truth that he wants them to know. And he describes them. He says, hey, they're ever seeing, but they don't really see. Okay, they saw the same things the disciples saw that day. They heard the same things the disciples heard that day, but they didn't really see. Okay, they didn't really hear. We know the term for that, don't we? Selective hearing. Okay, like they had some selective hearing. We've experienced that. If you've got kids, I can walk into my kitchen and just kind of yell out to my house like, hey, we've got ice cream. Okay, and everybody floods into my kitchen, okay? It's like I've got the loudest voice in the entire world, but I can walk in there and say in the same voice, have the same people in my home and say, hey, the dishes need to be unloaded. It's like I'm mute, okay? It's like everybody went deaf at that moment, okay? It's just like we've got some selective hearing, and that's what we have here. Okay, Jesus comes and he starts to teach about who he is, and there's some things that they hear that they liked. Like, oh man, I'll take that. Like, I like this Jesus. I like he's healing people. He's meeting my needs. He's talking about, man, I think he may be the one that's going to kind of free us from all of this oppression that we have. It's like, I like this Jesus. Yeah, let's go. But then he starts to say some things that they don't like. Like, hey, don't hate your enemies. Love them. Like, pray for them. He says, hey, if you really want to follow me, you got to take up your cross. You got to live a life of self-denial. And he starts to say some hard things. Okay, hey, I'm not here to build a political kingdom. My kingdom's not of this world. And they're like, oh, no, I don't like that. Like, I'll take this part, but not this part. And so their hearts, they became, I'll see it. I'm not really seeing it. I don't want what it is that you're really talking about. They say, hey, I'm willing to follow Jesus. I just want it on my terms. I want it on my terms. And I'll just pick and choose. And their hearts were resistant, okay, to who Jesus was and what his rule and his authority actually meant in our lives. When we do that, when our heart posture is that way towards him, where does that lead us? Okay, what does that cause us to become? Jesus, he's going to describe it, and it's going to hurt a little bit, okay? At least it did with me this week. Verse 15, he says, here's what they are like. For this people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they've closed their eyes. He says their hearts have become callous. I have a callus, okay, right here. Okay, underneath my wedding ring, okay, I have a callus here. And we know what a callus is. Some of us have more than others, okay? Some of us have worked a little more, have a little more physical labor in our life than others. But we know what a callus is, okay? A callus is this thickened, hard piece of skin that we have on different parts of our body. And the reason that I have this callus on my hand right here is because 20 years ago when we got married, okay, I took this ring, okay, and I put it on, and I said, I'm not going to take it off, okay? And for the last 20 years, I've just ignored the existence of this ring completely. Okay, for 20 years, this ring has been rubbing against my hand, it's been rubbing against my skin, and I've just ignored it. I've just forgotten that it was there. And you know what's happened over 20 years? Given enough time and given enough neglect, a callus forms, okay? Enough neglect over a period of time forms calluses. And whenever we have a callus, we all know this. What's true of that? We stop feeling. I mean, I meant to bring a needle. I forgot it. But I could take a needle. Okay, I tried it last night. It worked. I could just poke right here on this callus. I could just poke that needle into my hand. It'll stick in there. Now, if I did it any other part, that would hurt, but I could poke a needle into that callus and just leave it there, and I won't feel a thing. And that's what calluses do. That's what it means to callus. Given enough time and given enough neglect, if we ignore things for long enough, calluses form to the point that we can't feel. And Jesus says the same thing can happen to our hearts. Listen, his rule, his authority, Jesus is king. If we ignore that long enough, the longer that we ignore the kingship of Jesus in our lives, the longer that we ignore, okay, just what his leading in our lives and what the fact that he is king, what that calls us to do and the steps of obedience that calls us to take, the longer that we ignore that, the less we're going to feel it. The less we're going to respond, okay? Neglect over time causes us to form a callus. And it happens through our hearts. I was just thinking about that this week, and I was just praying about it. And so, as I'm studying through a sermon, and before I even start trying to think through preaching, I just try to think through my own life. And I'm just like, okay, where has this been true for me? Like, God, where has my heart become callous? Like, where am I ignoring you? And it's just this callousness is starting to form in my life. And a lot of things, okay, he just kind of, he'll answer. If you ask that prayer, he will show you some things, okay? And so I just pray, and he showed me a lot of things. But one thing just kind of popped into my mind. We have some neighbors that just moved in a couple months ago, 2 doors down from us, okay? And so, right across the street. So we have some neighbors that moved in a couple of doors down from us. And as soon as these two women, they moved in, I was like, man, I need to meet them. Like, I need to be a good neighbor. Jesus calls me to be a good neighbor. It's like, I need to meet them. I need to go say hi, welcome them to the neighborhood, okay? Jesus put them in my neighborhood for a reason, okay? If he's my king, that's going to influence me to love them and know them in a certain way. It's like, at a bare minimum, I need to meet them, okay? At a bare minimum, I need to know their name. And I just felt him just tugging on my heart and pulling my heart over the last several months in that direction. But, like, life is busy. Okay, so for the past several weeks, past several months, I just get home and I've pulled my truck into my driveway and I see them out there working in their yard and I'm like, man, I got to get somewhere. And I just walk in and I ignored it. This pull toward that direction, I ignored it. And again, I'd see them out walking their dogs, like, oh, this is the time I should go. I should talk to them. I should say hi. I was like, man, I'm just so tired. It's been a long day. I just shut my truck, lock the door, and I walk in and I ignore them. And for the past several months, I've just ignored and ignored and ignored until, you know what? I don't think about them at all. They just slipped my mind. They've gone out of my mind. They've gone out of my heart. And that is not a sign that everything is okay. Okay, that is a sign that my heart is becoming calloused. It's becoming callous to the people around me. It's becoming callous, okay, to what Jesus as my king is calling me to do with my life. Given enough time and given enough neglect, okay, the voice may not necessarily get louder. It's going to get quieter because our hearts are going to grow calloused. And we're not going to experience him in the way that we want. Okay, it doesn't work like that. Our spiritual lives, we don't just stay in neutral. Okay, we're either growing warmer and closer toward God or we're moving away from him. And he warns us, he says that they'll get enough time and enough neglect. We're going to grow callous, and we know this. Okay, the longer we just kind of see our Bible sitting there and it's just a decoration, we never open it. Okay, listen, we're not like, man, I want to read it more. The longer I go without praying, it's not that I want to feel this, like I feel more dependent on Jesus. I just start to feel like I can handle things on my own. Okay, the longer I go without community in my life and I just find reasons to not come to church or get in a small group or all of these things, I don't start to love God's people more. I just tend to kind of get more annoyed and love them less. The longer I put off just talking about Jesus and living on mission for him, listen, I don't feel more of a burden. I just get distracted by everything going on in my life. Give enough time and give enough neglect, our hearts become callous to Jesus' rule in our life. And we miss out on the benefits, okay, the blessings that come with living a life where he's our king. And so Jesus, he warns us, this is why I'm speaking in parables, okay? It's kind of drawing a dividing line, okay? To say who really wants me, who's just kind of in it for them or whatever it is. And he draws this line, and it's a warning to us. It's a warning to us, kind of going back to that original question, why do some people experience God deeply while others miss them completely? Listen, the secret has kind of been out there for everyone. The key factor is the posture of our hearts. And so here's kind of the truth Jesus would say. He would say, hey, receptive hearts see what resistant hearts miss. Okay, receptive hearts see what resistant hearts miss. It's not about what we know. It's the posture of our hearts. That's what the disciples came. Jesus started to speak, and they leaned in, and they asked questions. And listen, you don't have to have all the answers. Okay, you don't have to know everything, but you just have to have a heart that says, Jesus, I want to know you. I want to follow you. Jesus, I want you as my king. It's the posture of our hearts. Not just on my terms, but on your terms. Receptive hearts see what resistant hearts miss. And Jesus, he does not want us to miss it. Okay, this is not something, life with him as king and the blessings that come with that. That is not something that he wants us to miss. So what do you do if you're like me and you find yourself with a little bit of a callous heart this morning? Here's what Jesus says. He kind of just describes this callous heart, and then he goes on. He goes, otherwise, they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. I would heal them. Listen, if you've got a callous heart and you just kind of feel that in these different areas of our life, listen, Jesus is not waiting for you to turn back to him so he can just teach you a lesson. Listen, he says, if you'll just turn to me and you'll just come to me, I'll heal you. I'll take that callous heart, that thing that that you have just ignored me for so long. I'll come if you just turn to me. Just turn your heart toward me. You're going to find healing. I'm going to heal you. That's why Jesus came. He came, he lived, he died on the cross for our sins. He rose again from the dead, okay? So he could give us forgiveness and he could bring us into a life with him, okay? The real life, the life that we were created to live. He says, if you just turn to me, I'm going to give that to you. All it takes is a heart that says, Jesus, I'm done living for my kingdom. Jesus, I want you to be my king. I trust you. You know better. You love me better. You know life better. This is the plan. It's a life that says, Jesus, I want you to be my king. So if you're here this morning and you find yourself just with the callous hearts, listen, Jesus just says, hey, just turn to me. Just turn to me. Just turn to me and I will heal you. Maybe that's, hey, it's turning to Jesus for the first time. Okay, turning him, maybe it's like, hey, it's just turning him for the first time, asking him to be your Lord and Savior of your life. And so that's why Jesus came. And listen, our sin, we're all sinful, our hearts are callous, but Jesus came, he died on the cross for our sins, he rose again from the dead, he offers us forgiveness and a life with him, okay, where we can follow him and into a better life. He offers that to us just as a gift to receive. Maybe that's the decision that you need to make today, just to turn to him and say, Jesus, I want you to be my king. Maybe you're like me and there's this kind of throne in your heart, okay, and you've just crawled back up on it. Okay, Jesus was there, but you've just kind of, hey, would you just get out of the way for a little bit? I've got some things that I want to do. And you've just crawled back up onto the throne of your heart. There's some specific areas of your life where you've just been ignoring him. And you've put him to the side and you're telling him no. Hey, he says, just turn to me. Just come and let me rule. Submit that area of my life, of your life, to my authority in your life, and I will bring healing to your life. He doesn't want us to miss. He's got a secret, okay, to life with him, and he doesn't want us to miss it. And it's a secret that we definitely don't want to miss. Last verse, Barrett, you can go ahead and come out, and we'll close. Last verse here. He says, what is that like? That kingdom life, that life where Jesus rules as king. Verse 17, he says, for truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but they did not see. Or the verse before that, blessed are your eyes because they see and your ears because they hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but they did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear. Jesus, he looks at his disciples and says, listen, guys, you don't know how good you have it. You don't know how good you have it. Listen, generations of people have been longing for this moment. Life with me as your king. Okay, I'm here, I'm present, I'm with you. Okay, and you don't realize how good you have it. It wasn't because their life was getting ready to get easier. Okay, it was getting ready to get really, really hard. Because you know what? No matter what it is that you go through, I'm here with you. And I'll walk through it with you. And we're going to go on a journey together. We're going to live a life of purpose together. Life with me as your king. It's yours. It's available to you. And the same thing that was available to them, it's available to us as well. Listen, the secret, okay, the secret to the life that we want, the life with God that we want, it is within our grasp. It's just the posture of our heart. So would you turn to him today? Turn to him in whatever area of that life that you're and say, Jesus, I want you as my king. Not my kingdom, your kingdom. Not me ruling, you ruling. Jesus, I want to live a life where with you as my king. I promise you, that's a secret. That is a life that you're not going to want to miss. And so keep coming back over the next 4 weeks. What we're going to do is we're just going to study. Jesus tells some different parables, okay, all throughout Matthew chapter 13. And we're just going to study through those together and kind of look through that life. Hey, what is the kingdom like? What is a life where Jesus is our king and he rules every part of my heart? What does that life look like? What is he doing in this world? It's going to be a great, great time just to kind of study through that. So come back over the next couple of weeks and we're going to kind of study through that together. Let me pray for us. Father, thank you, Jesus, for just the secret. Jesus, thank you that you are doing something in this world. You are doing something in our lives. God, and I just pray right now that we would be open to that. That we would just do some honest reflection in our own hearts and in our own lives. And God, as you just show us just these spots in our heart where calluses are starting to form. God, I pray that you would show that to us. We would be honest about that. And I just pray that we would turn. We would turn to you and let you bring healing in those parts of our lives, God, because Jesus, you're just better at running our lives than we are. You are the good King. You are the wise King. You are the powerful King. And then, Lord, life is better, and it's lived for the purpose for which we were created when we follow you as our King. And so show us what that looks like this morning. Show us what that looks like as we kind of journey through that over the next 4 years. Jesus, thank you. We love you and pray all this in your precious name.